educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here is your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I have a very passionate individual about growing your business. And a lot of things that we're going to talk about today are ways that I have yet to venture into yet. And most of you who have been listening over a period of time knows that I've been going back and forth on that. And so maybe he can help me answer some of these questions. But as I stated, he is passionate about supporting growing businesses, particularly in blue-collar industries, to build amazingly productive companies by hiring the right people. Growing up, he saw his own father working 12-hour shifts and weekends as an owner-operator, witnessing firsthand the struggles that these companies have in hiring quality frontline employees, and he was determined to help them find a better way. In his company, Core Matters, he provides coaching and training on attracting, hiring, and retaining rock star employees. And I know most of you that's listening are, right? And he's using his proven process, the Corfit Hiring System. Small and mid-sized businesses learn how to start hiring better people faster. With almost a decade in the business, he has worked with over 100 clients, helping business owners achieve their goals by hiring the right people. And hopefully, not only will we learn how as a entrepreneur we can hire the right people, but maybe you can make yourself more attractive to be that right person. I thank you very much for listening to That Will Never Work podcast, and I bring none other to you than Ryan. Ryan, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, Maurice, thank you. I'm looking forward to this. We're having some fun already. We're not even started yet.
I know, right? So we talked about rockstar employees. So before we go into the entrepreneurial side or the CEO side or maybe the HR side, right? How would I make myself a better employee just from the beginning? How can I make myself a better employee?
There's a couple of things that go into this. When we're coaching our clients on how to determine if someone's a rock star, it's not just one thing. It's not like there's just a big gold star on their resume and we're like, that's the one. One of the things that I've coached job seekers on in the past is the idea that you can't be everything to everyone. And one of the things I see people do is they write a resume that captures every job, everything they've ever done. It's like, I got to put it all on there because I never know what they're going to be looking for. And so one of the things we coach job seekers on, I've done in the past, is talk to them about the idea that you need to pick something that you want to do, and you need to pick the company you want to do it for and become the employee on paper that they want to hire. In other words, if you're looking to become a manager, and you're looking at the job description online and you're going, okay, I can do all this. You take your resume and you craft it to fit that job description. The keywords that are in that job description, you put into your resume. Anything that has nothing to do with you being a manager, you delete from the resume. And what you're doing is you're really presenting yourself as an employee that's going to fit what I'm looking for, because that's the problem that we run into right now. Is I'm helping a client screen applications right now, and I look at it and I go, this person has no right applying for this job. And we see it all the time. Now, they might have been the rock star I was looking for, but on paper, they weren't the rock star I was looking for. So they don't even get a chance. So they don't even get a chance to talk to us because of that.
And why is that? Is it because of on paper? Because I've heard a lot of situations where, hey, I've applied on Indeed, but I never got the resume. Is it because those bots, quote unquote, in the system, those ghosts, not giving my resume to someone like yourself?
So a recruiter, this is on average, I didn't make this up, but on average, a recruiter makes a decision about whether or not to move you forward in 6 seconds. Which means you've got to have that rock star emblem right there at the top of your resume. It makes them go, that's the one, move forward. When we coach our clients on how to write an ad and post on Indeed, We want them to be incredibly clear about what they're looking for. We give the job seeker the answers to the test, and they still fail miserably. Yep. A client right now is looking for a video editor.
Okay.
They need someone to edit videos for social and all this other stuff, full-time job. And we put in there very clearly, you must provide a portfolio of work samples based on this type of video. We're getting commercials. We had somebody submit they were most proud of the horror flick that they created in college. And I was like, did you read what we're looking for? I'm pretty sure you didn't, because we said right there, educational, entertainment type content for a financial services company. Like, this isn't, horror flick is not going to cut it.
Right.
And it's like they see that. What happens is, I think that a lot of job seekers, they see it and they're like, I'm going to apply because the odds are I'm never going to hear back anyways. So why put a lot of effort into it? Like, I'm told that most employers aren't going to get back to us. And I think if you have that thinking, you might be a victim of your own thinking. Because it's that thinking of, I'm not going to put any effort in because I'm not going to hear back anyways, is what causes you to never hear back anyways.
So that means
if you really want that job, present yourself as the employer that they're looking for.
So I really need to pay strict attention to what is in the posting and make sure that I apply that to my resume. Because I know back in the day when I was applying myself, they say, you know what? Even if you don't hit it all the way, still apply. You never know what the odds are. So even with that, should I still apply in today's market, or should I just be directly like, hey, I have to hit all the key points?
You got to hit the key points. I mean, everybody's got the software now that's scrubbing this. We've got a platform that we help our clients install. AI actually looks at the resume and compares it against job description and scores it 1 to 5.
Okay.
And when we're getting volume, and keep in mind, if a company is looking to hire, two things. Number one, they need to hire, which means they're short-staffed, right? They need people. They're short-staffed. So that's the first thing you know. Well, what do you get from them being short-staffed? They're going to make decisions quickly. They're not going to spend a lot of time.
Right.
They already don't have time. They're hiring somebody. So we know that they're short-staffed. So think about that. If you need to make the job of the recruiter so easy that the recruiter has no choice but to move you forward. That's the first thing you know. The other thing you got to know, if they're hiring and you found the job on Indeed, you and 12,000 other employees that think they're qualified are applying for that same job. So when you take the fact that they don't have enough time because they're already short-staffed, they're looking to fill a position, and you couple that with everybody that's anybody is applying for that job, you're basically putting this burden on the recruiter, or if it's a small company, the owner, to say, hey, can you find the needle in the haystack? And what do most entrepreneurs do? Like, if you're applying for a small business, they come in, they see that haystack, and they're like, I got other things to do. And they move on. And it's why you never hear back.
So now let's flip it back to the entrepreneurial side, right? I'm the owner, and I do need a video editor, right? But it lends itself to not, because an editor is just someone maybe sitting behind the desk, working in Premiere, that type of thing, versus someone where I may want you to go out and shoot with me, maybe, So, but as I'm sitting down, I'm writing down this job description, and it's not clear. But I know what I'm really looking for is the editor. But I know every now and then. So should I even add that into that type of job description if I'm really looking for an editor more than anything else?
So this is how we coach it. When you're writing a job description, and I want to be very clear, there is a difference between a job description and what we call a job ad. The ad is what you post online to attract the people that you want to apply for the job.
Okay.
That is different than the list of activities that they are supposed to be doing in order to succeed in that job. One's an HR compliance document. This is what I'm paying you to do. If you don't do it, I'm not paying you anymore. The other one is an advertisement. And so when I do this in workshops, I have these 2 slides, and I play a commercial for the brand new Corvette. And you know what you don't see in that Corvette or in that commercial? You don't see a sticker price, pay.
No.
You don't see a list of performance features, qualifications. You don't see a list of specs, requirements. You don't see these things in the commercial. You see a bunch of people enjoying life, having a great time, going, wow, that was amazing. And somebody wants to drop 160 grand on a Corvette.
Right.
And then I show the next slide, which is a window sticker, which is a bulleted list of all the things that you get and all the things that you need to know about owning this Corvette, as well as the sticker price. Which one do our job descriptions, our job ads look like? They look like the window sticker.
Right.
Well, Chevy's figured out you don't sell Corvettes with a window sticker. You sell it with an ad showing people enjoying life. So to answer your question about the job description, the compliance documents is what you got to do. What we want you to do, let's say you're hiring a video editor. And by the way, this video editor needs to know how to shoot. Now, it's not in the field, it's in studio, but they got to know how to shoot. And so we put together a list of what we call core responsibilities.
Okay.
These are the 3 to 5 outcomes that you are paying this person for. So nobody pays a video editor to edit video. What they're really paying for is someone to take raw video and turn it into something I can share online. The outcome is publish-ready video. That's the outcome that I'm paying for. How they get there is less important to me than that they get there. Right? We are paying for someone to create video that has the chance of going viral. So there's a virality component. So it's not just a matter of publish-ready video. You've got to make sure you storyboard well, and you've got good strips, you got good B-roll, you got good edits and transitions, you got good thumbnails that draw people in. So it's not just an editor that they necessarily need. You got to have some other skills too. So we have a list of the 3 to 5 core responsibilities. And then underneath every responsibility, we have the list of activities. You're going to work in Premiere. You know, you're going to shoot on this type of camera. You're going to do this much review. You're going to source B-roll. All those activities go under the outcome or the responsibility that you're paying someone for. And the clearer you are on that, the easier it will be for you to find that needle in the haystack.
Something you mentioned, which is this editor, the end goal is to create something that goes viral. A lot of times we don't understand what is our end goal. You get what I mean? You know, so because I've seen some of my clients write out their job description, right? Without understanding really what is their end goal, like really what they want this individual to really accomplish at the end of the day. You know, granted, it might be over a period of time, but at the end of the day, what do they want them to accomplish? And I think that's something that's not always clear. You know, so in the job description might not always be clear in that. So how important is that for us to determine what is our end goal as we're writing out this thing so we can find our rockstar employee?
Yeah, you need to start with the end in mind. I mean, it's that simple. Imagine for a moment, I don't know, I grew up bowling. My parents bowled. I liked bowling. I don't know if you ever bowled or not. But
of course.
Imagine that I'm going bowling. Okay. And down at the end of the bowling alley, there's a curtain that drops as soon as my ball gets past it. I hear the pin shatter, but I don't know how many I got. And then the screen's not showing my score. And I just keep bowling. And I just keep bowling. I have no idea if I'm doing well, if I'm doing bad. Every day I see companies do this where they do not let people know how they're winning. It's human nature. We want to win. Now, if my winning aligns with the outcome you want for someone in the role, woohoo, we both win.
Right.
So you've got to know what you are hopefully getting from this new employee, but you got to let that employee know what they got to do to win. We call that the measurables. How are you keeping score? And how do you know that that person's doing a good job? And the way you find that out is you figure out, well, what is a good job first? That's what you ask, right? Like, what am I getting?
Right.
What's a good job?
Right.
So if you don't know what the good job is, I promise you, they don't know what the good job is.
Right. And you know, and something else that you keep pulling out all these nuggets and all these things make me flashback, right? So, you know, but as you're stating, as I am trying to become a rockstar employee, or I'm trying to build up a rock star employee, right? In today's world, people don't like criticism. People don't want to be corrected. People don't want to be, hey, here's a suggestion how to do this better and all that type of stuff. How important is that for us to have that mutual dialogue to become that rock star employee that's going to create, take me to a rock star status in my organization? How important is that little piece right there? Because a lot of times it seems like we're missing that too.
Oh, companies live and die off of communication. I mean, for some reason, we're in this world where bosses are scary and employees are lazy.
Right, yeah.
And the scary bosses don't want to talk to the lazy employees, and the lazy employees don't want to talk to scary bosses. And so we just don't communicate until that boss has been losing sleep for weeks and finally says, I'm firing them. One of the things that we teach, and I'm very passionate about this, is if you are going to fire an employee, you just walk in and say, you're fired. Is that employee going to be surprised? Because if they are surprised, you got a whole lot of communication work to do before you fire that employee.
Wow. And a lot of times we don't want to do that. We don't want to communicate right now. Again, everything is in 6-second bursts. So communication is a lot longer than that.
Absolutely. You talked about those job descriptions earlier. You're asking about that. We have seen low performers. I mean, the employers are ready to get rid of them. The owner's like, I can't do this anymore. They got to go. And said, okay, if we got to replace them, I need to know who we're replacing them with. So let's document the rock star. And so we put together a new job description. And this is what I want. Oh my gosh, if I had this person, I would sleep like a teenager and never get out of bed. And so I say, okay, now take that job description and go share it with that underperforming employee and ask them if they're willing to do that. And more often than not, that low performing employee will become a rock star almost overnight because now they know what they got to do based on how you're keeping score.
So why wouldn't that individual write that out from the very beginning?
Well, come on. That's a loaded question. You ever heard common sense isn't that common, Maurice?
I know, right?
You ever heard that?
And I'm only asking that because sometimes, again, we don't know, as an entrepreneur, we don't always know what we really want, until someone is in that position, until we're in that position, because we have to change with the times. Like you said, AI and things like that, has changed the game in a lot of different ways, so I think the expectations continually shift, just like our business plan continually shifts over a period of time. So I think that's something else that we need to even consider. Technology, ways of communication, what the workplace is looking like. We've been going back and forth for a couple years whether or not we should take this 2-hour break in the middle of the day, like was it France or something like that? So all these different things that as we try to build our culture of our organization, we have to take in consideration.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing. One of the first things we do is we figure out, let's define your culture. Because one culture, the person might show up and they're a rock star. In another culture, they're going to be a low performer. You're going to wish you'd never hired them. Culture impacts their ability to perform more than anything. You take a, I'm not a big sports guy, but you take like a real famous athlete and you put them on the lowest performing team. It's a culture issue. He ain't going to play very well.
No.
But we do that all the time. We set ourselves up and we have a low performing team because we've never spent the time to define our culture. We find that rock star, they come over and they're like, oh, what did I sign up for? And they don't thrive. So getting really clear on your culture is a big part of it too. I mean, I wish it was easy as saying, write great job descriptions and all your problems will be solved.
Right.
But that's not the reality. Like there's a lot of moving pieces to it. I mean, our clients who are, they're established, they're mature businesses, and they've got 30 to 500 employees, and it takes them years to figure out this stuff that we're teaching them because they've never done it.
Right.
So Now, had they gone back to the beginning, day one, like I'm getting ready, I'm going to leave my corporate job and I'm going to start my own business, I'm ready to go, and they did it right from day one, things would be so much easier. But I've also learned that a lot of people that make that leap from working from someone else to owning their own business, they don't want the policies and the processes and the systems. They want the Wild West. They want to do it their own way. They're tired of being told what to do. And so they ignore this stuff. And I think that's why we don't do that stuff from the beginning.
And something else that I've come across in my years of business is that most people do not reflect back on their mission or vision statements and making sure that they are living it out. In turn, it lives out in their clients or their customers, i.e. their employees first, and then their external customers. So I think those are some of the key points that we have to always keep in mind too. Not just the culture, but the culture actually comes from us, making sure that the mission and the vision and the value statements are clear and that they are executed, as perfectly as we can get it.
Yeah. I get a lot of pushback from people about defining a mission, a vision, values, that kind of stuff. I don't know if you get that, but I get that a lot. Like, why do I need this? We're a small company. We know who we are. We know how we behave. We know what we do.
Right.
And what I found is vision in particular is probably one of the biggest things, because to go back to that sports analogy, you got the top performing athlete in the sport. And you are not known as a top performing team. What are your odds that that rock star is going to want to come play for a low performing team?
Unless I'm going to get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, pretty low.
Right.
Pretty low.
Right.
So what happens as employers, we are not a top performing or perceived. This is what I find a lot of times. We're great to work for, but we don't have the right brand for it. So nobody knows that we got great leadership, that we pour into our people, that we care about them. Nobody knows, because we are so focused. Got to get a new client, got to get a new client, got to get a new client. Nobody ever takes a step back and says, well, what do we got to do to attract that new rock star? And I will tell you that if you want to attract a rock star, you have to be perceived as a company full of rock stars. Because an A player doesn't want to play on a C team.
No, they don't.
Ever. But if you don't know, if you aren't clear, if the market, the industry, your area does not perceive you as a company full of A players, guess what? You aren't full of A players.
Right.
And that A player is going to go, nope, moving on.
Right.
And so you asked me earlier about attracting rock stars. You have to become the company that rock stars want to come play for.
Wow.
You have to do it.
And that's not always easy to do. Like as you just stated, sometimes we don't understand our brand, because we might have one thing in mind, but brand is about what other people perceive you. And and sometimes we don't want to hear that feedback. We don't want the truth. We don't want honesty. We don't want to hear that, hey, we're not delivering, we're not deliverables.
Yeah. I use a lot of relationship analogies in the work that I do. People seem to click with the relationship analogies. Right? But let's say that I was like, you know what? I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to do this thing. I want to have a lifetime partner. And I just said, let's go out and see who's out there. It's going to be a real challenge. But if I sat down and said, you know what? Let me define my ideal partner. Let me write a list of everything I want in the perfect partner. And I write it all down. And then I hold that list up and I go look in the mirror and I go, would this person want me? Because if the answer to that question is no, you need to become the person that person you wrote out would want to be with. We have to do the same thing in business. If I want to attract a rock star, write down everything I want in a rock star employee. Everything I want. They care about the business. They love their family. Whatever it is, write it all down. Everything. and then go look in the mirror and hold that list up and go, would this rock star want to play on my team? Because if not, you need to make some changes. You either need to lower your standards and find a different rock star, or you need to say, you know what? No. Going back to the relationship. Nope, she's going to want me in the gym.
Right,
she's going to want me to have goals in life.
Right.
She's going to want me to have a good job. She's going to want me to be out of debt. And I go do those things. Now it's way easier for me to find that partner I'm looking for.
Wow.
Same thing in business.
Wow. Ryan, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Listen, man, let everyone know, because everyone's looking for that partner to help them become that rock star corporation. Everybody wants this generational wealth and all that type of stuff, right? But we got to start off with small, understanding our focus, meet, some other things along the way in order for us to get to that ultimate dream. So, Ryan, where can they reach out to you where you can start them out, understand how to become that rock star company where we can attract rock star employees?
Well, I'm going to give an offer to your listeners right now. So I wrote a book called Hire Better People Faster, where I take everything that we're talking about and I give you all the how to make it happen. It's not a strategy or a theory book where it's like, here's a great idea. It's like, no, if you want this, you got to do this. If you want this, you got to do this. It's called Hire Better People Faster. And for people that want the audiobook or anything, they can go get it anywhere audiobooks are available. However, if they want me to mail them a free copy of the book, all I do is ask them to help me out with shipping and handling. Go to my website at corematters.com/free book.
Okay. And we'll make sure
enter your information. And I got my daughter. She helps me out with it. She helps me get those in the mail. And I'll send you a signed copy of my book. And it's really powerful. It's something that I wish I would have had 15 years ago when I started my business.
So that will be in the description for the show. That will definitely be in the show notes today. And I thank you, Ryan, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Maurice. It was great.
Sure, no problem. But before I let you go, it's not totally over yet. I got to ask you my would you rather question.
Sure.
So Ryan, would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Whoo.
Now, mind you, there are no parameters. Is up to your imaginations. However
fork in
you
the
answer.
road.
Okay, and why a fork?
I just like the idea that if I'm going to leave something to chance, like which door I walk through or which one, I'd rather know that it was a 50-50, 33.
Okay.
Better odds of finding the good one.
So nothing real deep or philosophical or, wishing on a star, nothing like that, like just 50-50.
50-50. I'm sorry. I wish it was a better answer, but that's just how I think.
No. And that's fine. Again, no parameters, no expectations. It's just an idea just to say, hey, you know what? How does Ryan think? Maybe I think the same way, and maybe because, of course, kindred spirits come together. So, it's just, that's all that is. Nothing.
I get yelled at all the time. My wife tells me all the time. She's like, not everything is black or white. I'm like, well, kind of is.
Yeah,
she's like, no. I'm like, no, it's either yes or no. My kids do this all the time. I'm like, hey, do you guys want ice cream? Sure. I'm like, all right, no ice cream. And they're like, what? I said, sure. And they're like, no, do you want ice cream? Yes or no?
Right.
You need to be clear in what you want.
Right. Because that's on the fence. That's on the fence.
Sure is on the fence. Yep.
And so if you say sure, then that means you don't necessarily have to have it.
Yeah.
That means I ain't got to go outside and get it. So
exactly. Yes.
But Ryan, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, no problem. And thank y'all for listening to That Will Never Work podcast. And I will talk to you a little later.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?